listening to pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 108. My guard is up. Sometimes we lie awake at night. Sometimes it takes hours upon hours to fall asleep. The experience of it is not very fun. Thoughts going here and there, body feeling unsettled, nervous, tense, restless legs, like we cannot find a comfortable position. So we lie there for hours. During that time, what we usually do is that we try to accomplish something. We try to solve problems. We try to fall asleep. Through our effort, fall asleep. And the more we try, the more frustrated we become. And the more frustrated we become, the more desperate our thoughts get, the more desperate our feeling grows. When we are lying there for those hours, trying to fall asleep, we mistake something. And what we mistake is that we are focusing on the wrong thing. We are standing, so to speak, with our backs to what we should focus on, and looking at the wrong thing. So if we just turn around 180 degrees, we will find that what we should focus on for those hours is not the falling asleep, is not all the problems we try to solve, but rather what we should focus on is our own guard. So let us talk for a moment about our guard and what it is. Emotionally, our guard is thousands, if not millions, of, or many thousands at least, 100,000 years of accumulated experience, of intuition on our part, that something feels wrong, that something is up, that something is awry, something is odd. And when something feels wrong, our guard, symbolically speaking, our guard goes up. And it goes up on its own. It's not something we do consciously, but rather it's all those thousands of years of implicit experience that acts out for us. So our guard goes up. And when our guard is up, we cannot fall asleep, because our guard is trying to tell us something. Our guard knows. Our intuition knows that something is wrong, but we do not yet know. Not explicitly, not consciously, but someday, sometime we might find out what our guard is trying to tell us. Those hours that we lie there awake, we can put those hours to good use. And the way to do that is to shift our focus away from our sleep that we do not get anyway, away from trying to solve problems, and redirect our focus to our guard itself, our guard in itself. So what we do is that we tell ourselves or say to ourselves internally. You can say it out loud if you want to, but it's not really necessary. But we say to ourselves the sentence that is also the title of today's episode. We say simply, "My guard is up." We simply acknowledge that my guard is up. And when we say this internally, when we recognize what is really there, which is our intuition trying to tell us something, we do not yet know what, but it is there trying to tell us something, our guard. When we recognize that and say, my guard is up right now, it's beyond my control, my guard is up right now, then we avail ourselves to what our guard is trying to say. Sometimes this experience, once we actually do avail ourselves to our guard, sometimes it tells us something concrete. Sometimes it quite literally just says out loud, so to speak, inside of us, what it is trying to say, what it is actually that feels wrong. At other times, it's a more slow process, it's a more mysterious process. Sometimes our guard simply, once we actually avail ourselves to it and recognize it, our guard tells us something similar to a riddle or a mystery or a feeling or a vibe that we can investigate further down the road. Usually, we exclusively use nighttime for sleeping, but life is more complex than that, and nighttime can be used for many things. And those hours when we cannot fall asleep are hours we can, and we can argue should, spend with our guard, our intuition, our deeper experience from thousands of years of accumulated memories. It is quite unfortunate. It is very unfortunate that most people do not learn how to utilize these hours of not sleeping during the night. It is unfortunate that many people use sleeping pills and other artificial ways of getting sleep. But sleep is not everything we need. We need rest. We need intuition. And when we cannot fall asleep, we are supposed to not fall asleep. Something deeper is at work that knows better than us for the moment. It is unfortunate to not trust in all those thousands of years of memories. It's very unfortunate because our ancestors, the people past, they suffered greatly to accumulate all that effort, all that experience for us. And when we sort of turn our backs to our guard, to our intuition, to our deeper knowledge, that is the same thing as turning our backs to all those generations of hard-earned effort. It's unfortunate. So, instead, when we now say, my guard is up, and we avail ourselves to our guard, what our guard is trying to say, then we gain access to many fine things. Our sort of touch in life will feel more profound. Our outlook on life, our way of viewing life will feel more profound, both to ourselves and to others. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I had a very hard time not turning my back to all of this. I turned my back to my guard. I turned my back on all that intuition, all that knowledge. It was scary, I felt, to recognize that deeper intuition as something that could actually serve me. Because the vastness of it, its sheer size, scared me. And I felt like, what good could come of this? I didn't have the words for it, but that's how it felt. And it takes some practice. It takes some getting used to. In the beginning it feels quite overwhelming to avail ourselves to this deep intuition. And then, when we actually do say my guard is up, when we actually do gain access to all that accumulated experience, cool things happen. Life starts making sense. People not making sense starts making sense. Ourselves not making sense starts making sense. It becomes sort of like, if you are old enough to remember these, those images in blue and red, those kind of 3D images that are printed twice, once in red and once in blue, with the picture a bit off in one color. And then if you put on these plastic glasses with one blue and one red lens, then the picture turns 3D and very vivid and very much alive. It's sort of like that. That once we avail ourselves to our guard and let it tell us things during those hours when we cannot fall asleep, then it's the same. It's like that picture which looks blurry and like nonsense starts making perfect sense and it comes alive. And that's how it feels in time. And that is something to really look forward to. Even though it will feel strange or new at first. My guard is up. That's all. That's it for today. Thank you.